Hello, welcome back to my training room. This is Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. The date is June 6, 2020, and we are here to talk about some self-defense and survival and all that fun stuff. This is week number 14, the end of week number 14 of the coronavirus staying at home, social distancing, and all that fun and, well, okay, not really fun, but necessary steps that we have to go through before everything get back under control. Speaking of control, that is very relevant to the topic of the day. A few days ago, I got a private question from a viewer asking me, is it true that a martial artist can beat a much bigger opponent? And if so, what is the logic behind it? How does that work? That is really a good question because it's something that's been perpetuated as a myth over and over again, all over the internet, all throughout your martial arts school. That if you know your martial arts, size doesn't matter. Now, to a point, that is true, but if you keep that in your head and you really think that size doesn't matter, then one day you'll find yourself being surprised in a very nasty way. Obviously, size matters. Obviously, it makes a difference. Weight, velocity, power, momentum, all that stuff. Otherwise, in professional fighting, they wouldn't have weight classes. Now, some people are going to say, well, yeah, but in some judo and some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, we don't. There's a tournament that there's no weight class. So how do you explain that? Well, all I can say is being thrown or being pinned or being armbarred by a guy who outweighs you by 200 pounds is very different from being kicked or being punched or being elbowed in the face by the same guy. Or if we were out there in on the street being stomped on by someone who's outweighed you by 200 pounds. Very different. Believe me, it makes a difference. Size does matter. Although, if you are really well trained, it may not matter as much. But ask any well trained, experienced martial artist or self defense expert or someone who's actually used to uh, putting their techniques to the test against real resisting opponent. They will tell you, if they're honest, they will tell you fighting a bigger guy is a lot harder than fighting someone your size or someone smaller. I often say that if we take away all the various factors, all the various variables, everything is the same. The only thing is different is the size of the two combatants. Big Bruce Lee versus small Bruce Lee. Big Bruce Lee will win like 99% of the time. Of course, in this case, we are assuming that both equally skilled, that both equally smart, that both equally fast. Just one's bigger and one's smaller. Then the big one is going to win. Uh, like the 1% of the time the small one wins, it's fluke. So does that mean that if we run into a bigger person, we are doomed? We are going to get messed up? No, because the other end of that equation is if a well-trained, seasoned, experienced, reality-based uh, martial artist run into a person who's not very well trained or a totally untrained person who's really big, then that martial artist is going to have the upper hand, no problem. I stress experience over training in this case because I've seen a lot of black belts or people with 3 or 4 black belts that go out on the street, fight some big biker dude at the bar, and they get messed up. I've witnessed that personally, and I heard a lot of instances where that happened. So just being well trained is not enough. You have to be experienced in doing that kind of fighting, in that kind of brawling. And also, it depends on what kind of martial art you do. Is it self-defense based? Is it military based? Or is it competition based? Take myself, for example. I have been kicking around the martial arts circle for about 30 years, and I've been involved with a handful of conflict, fisticuffs, and brawls, and even a couple of instances where knives and sticks were employed, a situation like that. So if I'm at the bar and Big Baba here, well, Big Bruce here, accost me, someone who probably outweighs me by 50 pounds, uh, and is taller and got a lot more muscle. If someone like that accosts me at the bar, I'm not worried. It doesn't impress me. It's going to make me be a little bit more alert, but I'm not going to break down and fall down with fear and fall to pieces because I'm used to, I've experienced something like this. I know how to defeat someone bigger. So experience is a big part of it. If a if a martial artist can defeat a bigger opponent. Now we come back to the other side of the scale. If the bigger opponent is also well trained, just not quite as well trained as the smaller guy, there is a big chance the big guy is still going to win. Let's say the small guy is a black belt and the big guy is a blue belt. If the small guy doesn't really know what he's doing or is not experienced in brawling, then good luck to him because most likely the big guy is going to win because he got his blue belt techniques, his blue belt experiences, plus his muscles, his bulk, his momentum, his weight, all that stuff in his favor. That's a lot of odds to overcome, even for a black belt. I've seen this in my old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program. We had a guy who was uh, really, really big, and he was a white belt, but he was trained in some other martial arts. He was pretty experienced in other martial arts, just not in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Our black belt coach couldn't do anything with him. Our black belt coach couldn't tap him out, couldn't submit him, couldn't even really pin him down because this guy outweighed him by about 200 pounds and was experienced in fighting. So, how do we handle someone bigger than us? Well, that really depends. Uh, Before I go any further, I want to say anything I'm showing here is example. There are examples of extreme situations. Considering what just happened out there with the George Floyd situation and all this anti-violence saying we are protesting. Well, people are protesting. I'm personally, I'm not really out there protesting. But anyway, considering all that, let me say this: you only fight that big guy. You only take them down or try to take them down if there's no other choices. So don't take what I show you here. And next time some big guy come up and try to shake you off, or I'll give you a big bear hug, or just trying to be funny with you, you do something like this to them. Okay? Everything in moderation. We don't have a lot of time with these videos. That's why I need to get the point across in a more extreme fashion. I'm not telling you to do these things. I'm just showing you how this can be done. So, first we assess what is going on here. Let's say I'm at a party and big Uncle Jim or big cousin Joey come up and say, hey, you know martial art, huh? I hear you know martial art. Hey, come on, show me some of your martial art stuff. Well, in this case, it doesn't make sense for me to do something too extreme because their intention is not to hurt me. Their intention may be to embarrass me, but I can that's okay. I'm old enough. I can take a few embarrassment. So if they do that, I'm like, no, hey, it's okay. I don't like my martial art is not that good. That's okay. No, let's. This is not the right place. No, I'm not wearing the right style. I don't feel good today. Let's do this another day. And then we go on our own business. Okay? No one get embarrassed other than maybe me a little bit, but that's okay. Don't use your fist. Don't use your technique to prove your ego. That is not what self-defense is for. That is not what martial art is for. Now, if I am at a party and big Uncle Jim come up and say, "Hey, I'm really interested to see what you can do. Can you show me, please?" Like if someone as big as me grab someone smaller like you, what would you do? If they are honestly, sincerely wanting to learn, rather than just trying to uh, uh, be be a hero in front of everybody. If they're sincerely looking for knowledge, then I would say, okay, okay, oh yeah, let's say you grab me around the neck, and they grab me around the neck, and I'll say, well, if someone big like you grab me around the neck, then I'll go like that, sweep the arm away, move around behind them, cuff the back of their neck, and here is where we stop. I don't hurt them, but I give them the illusion, or I give them the proof that I can do a lot more. So again, slow motion, that move. Someone big, burly, come up, grab you. Okay? One thing to note, what I did there, I did not say I'm going to do this move, 1, 2, 3, and go. Okay? We do not give them that kind of preparation. Because if you do, a lot of times you're going to fail because they are prepared. What we are going to do is while we're talking and moving. While I'm talking, my bottom arm, the one that is less visible, come across. My wrist is flexed back to form a backward hook or L shape, I suppose. I hit the side of the wrist to take the inside hand off my neck. At the same time, I'm moving in, stepping behind them. As I mentioned in a previous episode, it's easier to move yourself than to move your opponent. So as I clear their arm out of in front of me, I'm stepping around, my free hand coming across, cupping the back of the neck, putting some downward pressure. There's a lot of other moves to get rid of someone's hand on your neck, but that is just one of the most immediate and one of the least damaging. I don't need to hurt them. I just need to get a point across. Now let's dial this up. Let's say it is someone really big, and this time the person is seriously going to mean me harm. Maybe not wanting to kill me, but maybe someone who got drunk, some big baba get drunk and come up to me and grab me, say, hey, you've been looking at my girlfriend. Remember what we talked about before, the keys to conflict resolution. We want to go through all those steps. We want to deflect the situation, avoid the situation, and defuse the situation. But let's say all that things failed. Big Baba is really looking for a fight. Am I going to stand here and slug it out with him and go in and pow, pow, jab, cross, and hook, and he hooked me back out, and then I kick him and then he kicked me back? No, no. That is how a not experienced martial artist would do this. That is Hollywood. That is how they do it in the movie. You actually stand there and exchange punches, exchange kicks. My goal is survival, self-defense. My goal is not a fight. So Big Baba here is looking for a fight. I can't get out of it. He's going to hit me anytime now. Or if he's already swinging, and I'm blocking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to wait. Okay? I'm going to wait. I'm going to move around. I'm going to keep moving, keep deflecting, keep occupying his hand, trying to make sure I have enough distance so he can't just grab me and pick me up. I'm going to constantly moving to the side, moving to the side, moving to the side, crowding him, crowding him. When I get that opening, when I think I get that opening to move in, this is how quickly things can go down for Big Baba. Less than 5 seconds, I would have him down on the ground, out of the fight. And imagine that that was hard to see on the camera. So let's really slow this down. Big Baba is swinging, I'm catching it on my arm, I'm moving, moving left, moving right, always at the diagonal. I'm going to crowd him, trying to foul out his move, and try to always step back, step in, trying to make sure he's not going to grab me. It looks like I'm doing this for a long time on camera, but in a real situation, I wouldn't be dancing around that long. As soon as I perceive an opening, I would go in. What would I do when I go in? I deflect his arm out of the way, my right hand right to the throat, leopard, right to the throat. I'm not using my full fist, I'm using front part of my fist, right to the throat, right to the throat. At the same time, I step in, my left hand, form, fist in, thumb out. Drive this thumb right into the eyes. Right hand, throat, left hand, eye. Okay, we got a leopard and dragon kung fu combo here. Throat, eyes, and then right elbow come around, elbow to the head. Unless he's some kind of Russian German tank hybrid, he's going down. Now he got an injured throat, he got injured eye, he got an elbow to the head. He goes down. I bring my foot up, boom, and then jump back, create distance. That last stomp can be to the leg, can be to the arm, to the hand. Don't stomp them on the head, okay? You want to kill someone. We don't want to kill someone. but I definitely want to stomp on his ankle or his hand, or at the very least, kidney, rib. So if he does get back up, he's going to move a lot slower because he's going to be in pain. Because if he get back up, he's going to be angry. I don't want him to be angry and not in pain. I'd rather him be limping a little bit and favoring one side of his body while he's angry. If we have to continue this nonsense. Throat, thumb to the eyes, elbow to the face, and stomp. 4 moves. None of this is allowed in standard competition. But I can get all 4 moves out in under 5 seconds to take down someone who is much, much bigger. Doesn't mean it's going to work all the time. Doesn't mean that I do this every single time. That would be boring. But this is just an example of how quick things will go down when an untrained big guy runs into a trained and experienced martial artist. Now let's dial this up yet another notch. Big Baba here has friends. They may have weapons. The Big Baba here is coming up. He's the tough guy leading the group. He's trying to rough me up. His people's just in the background, waiting to jump in at any time. So do I want to do what I just did? No. Because while I'm here dancing around trying to wait for that opening, I have to pay attention to the other guy in the background. In this case, I need to dial things up to a point where we mostly don't want to go. But let me show you guys. Big Baba coming up, grabbing at me, swinging at me, his friends in the background. I don't want to waste time. I'm going to keep my one hand in front of me, distracting him, trying to protect myself as best I can. I put my other hand into my pocket. What's going on here? This is a karambit. We're not going to kill Big Baba, but we are going to show him that we could. Not by waving this in his face. Most likely, I'm just not going to do anything. But what I'm going to do, when Big Baba is accosting me, his friends are in the background. I need to get the point across really quickly. He come in, I meet his hand with my inside hand, my other hand come out of the pocket, boom! Don't move, don't move, get down! Don't you move, and don't any of you move. Someone call the police. What happened there? Again, might be too quick to see. When I pull this out, I'm not deploying the knife because my intention is not to kill Big Baba. I just want someone to call the police. I just want to control the situation. So my first target is the hand that's offending me. I bring the undeployed, the blunt back, the blunt body of the knife right down on the back of the knuckle. He's going to drop that hand, and then I come in with that down seam back of the knife, the blunt part of the knife, right down into his elbow. Okay, now most likely this arm is going to be sore for a while. I continue the same motion, so hand, elbow, face. Again, leading with the blunt body of the knife to the face and then whip. Now, this is the beauty of our karambit. I'm letting this swing out from my finger like this. I'm opening my hand. the knife is hanging on my finger, so I can whip this into his face. All the while, I'm moving behind him. When I'm at this shoulder level, this is when I deploy the knife right against the jugular. One hand twist the back of his shirt, pushing him forward, knife in the jugular. Don't move. Don't any of you move. Someone call the police. Okay? There's a lot more to it, but I think that gives you guys a very good idea of how it is possible, if you know what you're doing, for a martial arts person or a self-defense person to handle himself against one, two, or even three much bigger opponents. Remember, the objective is not fighting. The objective is survival. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, stay safe, stay strong, and have a good night.